Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation, what is sensorality? Looking for the stabilizing syllability, take those syllables, that chunk of letters, directly maps into a theorem, a statement of fact, that gives us our natural definition of what sensorality is. And that is the general, again, linguistic representation of sensation, sensuality, sexuality, consensus, sensors, censorship, and we're connecting and completing that word family. And so sensorality is lessnessality. Listo, right? In Spanish, it's another one of these dichotomistic pairs that's interesting. Listo and lindo. Lindo, like beautiful. Like you use that as like a compliment. And then listo, like ready. Well, not like ready, means literally ready, but clearly it's just a sandwich of is, right? It is what it is the form of all solutions. Or all resolutions. I guess we need a definition what a resolution is, right? It's an explanation. It just demonstrates why something is the way it is. And then we can't break that irreducibility of language. It is what it is. Like look at all the word forms where it is being iterated with, again, including iteration. So you can't break that irreducibility of language. You're born into an environment. And words have meaning. There are sounds associated to intuitions, right? You have the same body as that person over there. They say table, you think table. They say run, you think run. Listo, lindo, sensorality with a C is listlessness. Listlessness being lifelessness, right? Just continuing on our definition. All trajectories are arcs. Arc. So we can see that, again, the geometric linguistics, which again, it's worth to point out, that is an entire chunk of fundamental geometry. Right? If you take any mathematician and say, what's like the pinnacle of math, they'll probably have no idea what mathematics is, but they'll probably articulate something about number theory. And then if you have like the ultimate proof in math, it's like a geometric proof of a fundamental thing in number theory. But the entirety of geometric linguistics, the logic that it exists is all I need to do to move on with the proof, and it's truly like derivative. It's not even worth working out the relationships between, again, the E and the C, right? You can clearly see like geometrically they're close. And so it's an entire chunk of geometry that's not worth my time to derive. Again, anything that borders on calculation is just, it's not even like an arrogant thing. It's just not relevant to what I'm doing. But it's an entire chunk of fundamental geometry, which is classic. But again, geometrically, you can see the E and the C are related. The E just has that added curve. Sensorality is trajectorality. Trajectorality is projectionality, right? You have projectiles following trajectories. That's all I said logically. Now here is another one of these things where it's people have the correct intuition, make a meaningful differentiation, and then label it exactly incorrect, historically, at a historic level, right? In Newtonian mechanics, which again is still a profoundly more comprehensive physicist to me than Albert Einstein. Einstein, again, the gravity to acceleration is an intuitive understanding of the inverse energies, the inverse of entropy. We covered that directly. But for the totality of science presented, Newton definitely did a lot more. And so we're back into this dichotomy of elastic and inelastic collisions. And so elasticality is deformability, right? If you take if you take a rubber band and say that's elastic, or if you have a waistband and it's an elastic waistband, does it stretch or does it not stretch? It stretches. Stretching is deformability. And so then if you go right now on Google and type in what is an elastic collision or a completely elastic collision, it will say a collision where all of the kinetic energy, which we've derived that energy is the potential for movement, and that order matters tremendously. But elastic logically naturally means stretchability, the ability to be deformed. So when you have an elastic and elastic collision, and they say it's completely kinetic energy, right, it's completely conserved. The momentum is completely conserved, right? That's not elastic. That's not deforming. That is saying rigidity, right? The opposite or inverse of elasticity, rigidity. And so you have this, again, an elastic collision naturally, logically is something that deforms. And then it literally says, elastic collision is not deformable. I mean, it's one-to-one wrong. And so again, anyone can appreciate that intuition. If you said your waistband is elastic and it stretches, that's deformability. That's directly not what they say in physics class. So again, we're demonstrating this overall consistency of language throughout all of ontology. But elasticality is deformability. Elasticality is the opposite of rigidity. Elasticity, rigidity. Elasticity is compressibility, right? Well, is our laminar flows compressible or not compressible? Is there any state of matter that is not compressible? No. Or we have this fundamental stability of 2. That dynamic creates mass. You can always compress that. And if you can't compress it, it is a literal physical limit, not a impossibility, like a measurement limit. If you need, again, 4 sun masses to create enough pressure to do this thing, and you just don't have enough 4 sun masses, the process is not impossible. It's just you don't have the required ingredients. And then we can, sensorality is elasticality, sensorality is sticality, sensorality is ecstaticality, excitement. Ecstatic is excited. But now we give another direct differentiation with linguistics. Ecstatic is the opposite of static, right? If something is static, it's not moving. It's ecstatic, it's excited. It's vibrating in a way, I'm going bouncing off the walls. That's ecstatic. But you have movement versus not movement in a natural definition for opposition, because that is what we're finding with sensorality. We keep saying sensorality is this, sensorality is that. Now we need to find what sensorality is not. We need to make this fundamental differentiation from linguistics to logic. And at this point, I'm really saying logic is like it's like physics, and we'll get here in a second, but just like it is what it is. And so ecstatic is the opposite of static. That is a natural definition in the negative. So sometimes I put the negative definitions in red, but again, that's typically if I'm proving something like wrong, that's acknowledged in like the elastic collisions, that's the definition's one-to-one wrong. But again, you'll see, by the time I put it on the screen, you'll see it. But again, I'm trying to put some sort of showing you, because there is obviously progression for me on a personal level, and it's so fast that you can't follow it. And so I'm trying to show you that there's actual, like, on a personal level, my intuition, even if it regenerates every 2 hours, it's still regenerating every 2 hours. So I'm trying to put hierarchy in these things for it to make sense in the future, because it really does just, the realization for me is just immediate, present, because all of the information's everywhere, right? It's not like I have to remember what mass is, it's right here, that's a word, and I've already solved all of this stuff. We're in a weird world of history and science where somebody's actually derived everything multiple times. But regardless, we can state the fundamental theorem of everything. Linguistics is physics, right? Logically, you're like, I've heard those words before. But now again, look at the words and think about them. Linguistics, linguists, that's prefix and then is, ticks, which again, the ix, the ICS is still is iterated by C, but it's some sort of, again, that reflexive, nothing is symmetric, some sort of this, again, inversion, opposition, chiral process of differentiation. We'll get there. But linguistics is physics, is an iteration of is, directly. Right? Before I told you we were going to connect bigger parts of ontology. Linguistics, what is it? Well, it's the study of language. No, language is literal. It's an L, it's an I, but linguistics, it's just based on is, guidance. It's just another form of is, right? It is what it is literally the form of all resolutions. And so linguistics is physics is just an iteration of is and then one in. So we're getting close to, again, demonstrating this fundamental iteration outside of one language, outside of, one section of ontology. But literally, directly, fundamental, the most comprehensive thing I can say about everything is linguistics is physics. I am Brad sitting here talking about physics, and I'm doing that by moving my body. I'm vibrating my vocal cords, which is a physical limit of rhythm, to articulate meaning to you. And so it's literally immediately directly true, and that's the most comprehensive thing you can say about anything. Linguistics is physics, and it literally is. Linguisticality is physicality. Are historians linguists? Again, the actual answers don't matter. We've introduced the word historian. Well, how convenient. Historian. Another word based on is, because it's actually the form of all solutions. All of language is structured this way. And we're showing this contraction, this reduction process to then show the differentiation, which solves all of science. Well, again, conceptually, it's not really a bad phrasing. And to get people's intuition of what I'm doing, we're solving all of science. We're exhausting the logical structure that is present within language. And then how else are you going to describe shit? And I've already done this. Where the fuck is my money? But regardless, our historians, linguists, sensorality is storyality. Again, generalizing the word historian. Guidance guise, censorship disguises. Sensorality is guidality. Censorability is guidability. Censoration is regulation. Any relevant spelling differences will be on the screen. Regulation is guidance. Sentiment is consensus. Sensorality is consensusality. Sensorality is sensusality. Again, I'm sure we've hit that one before, but again, showing you again, even if they are repetitive or redundant, it's enough intuition. Again, me doing this derivation all day, every day, this realization doesn't stop. It's still like, okay, this is a point where I need to show you this is the words going through my head. But so if there is redundancy, I don't apologize. Deal with it, Johnny. Sean Carroll at Caltech. Or no, we're at Santa Fe. Oh, no, now we're over at Johns Hopkins. All fraud. Nobody can pay me a little bit of money. Again, legitimately like what you guys give stipends to PhD students to like go try to think about something sometimes. And I'm over here just pumping out more work than I can literally articulate. Regardless, sensorality is sensuality, consensual, consensus, and then sensuality, sensusality, are direct iterations where we just add an S to the sensuality to get sensuality. And so that is what I have for you today. Again, there's big connections in every single one because this derivation, we're at this part of the finalizing, like I guess this is like, again, we're demonstrating a physical limit. We're demonstrating, finding like the inverse of sensorality, which gives us our natural definition, pairs directly to a physical process, censorship, and we're just showing you why it's how to spell it the right way. But we're doing derivation at a level where, again, it's really proofing. Like derivation is what we're doing, but the derivation is so complete. I've already proven all of this stuff. Not to say, look at Brad, give me a gold star. But like and not even like, people will say, you know, this person gave a good result so they can kind of like jump around or something a little bit. That's not even what I'm doing. Like I've proven that language is consistent and I've shown you all of the mechanics of how, again, to generalize the linguistics, take the word forms, expand them, relate them to one another. But again, on a personal level, there's just so much more. So if like I turn off my camera and then go on a walk and then the next time I write something down, it's 3 hours. I'm talking literally sets of proofs of derivation, just flooding out all of the time. So I'm not even jumping around. You guys have violated my rights in such a profound way I can't articulate all of the theorems and literal proofs, like proofs that would get people PhDs and tenureships and literally be the next Albert Einstein, like that level of proofing. And it's just like if I'm on my walk, there's no point for me to do anything. But regardless, it is profound destruction of property, profound destruction of value. But regardless, that is what I have for you today. My rights remain violated. I'm just asking for a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work. And the answer is a resounding fuck no. So thank you for watching. See you on the next one.